Adrienne Hahn, businesswoman, women's rights activist, mother, friend. You good?
I'm great.
Adrienne,
Claire, so excited to be here.
so excited to have you, babe.
Well, thank you.
Let's talk about boob jobs. I feel like we're going to get into it today.
I'm ready.
Martini, please.
Exactly.
We met a few months ago,
Yes, we did.
and I came home from a tough business trip,
Yeah.
and I was upset, and I sat down at dinner, and you told me to toughen up. Those are maybe the two first words you ever told me.
I'm such a pleasant person to have dinner with, obviously.
No, honestly, it was exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Lawsuits, no lawsuits, business, big, what did you say? Big business, big problems.
Yeah, you've made it. It's yeah, when you know you've made it, unfortunately, is when people come for you. So
Doesn't feel like I've made it.
in your own way you have.
No,
I really respect the business. I think one of the reasons I really wanted to come on and chat is because I have a lot of respect for you as a businesswoman, not only as a mom, but I mean, you've built an empire in yourself, and that's really hard to do, especially on your own. So I think, I have a lot of respect for you and what I saw. And I saw a girl that night who unfortunately had a lawsuit that was coming her way that was undeserved, and I've been there myself. And I think in those moments you need someone to tell you to buck up, because people that can offer unwavering support in times of good but also bad are the ones that you want on your team. And that's what I've tried to do with, my personal and professional partnerships, is showcase unwavering support and unwavering belief that someone can get through it, because you always do. Always do.
Even if it feels like you can't.
Yeah.
You always do get through it. But
Yeah.
it took your wisdom. 6 years my senior, my junior. You're 6 years younger than me, however you say it.
Yeah, 6 years your junior.
6
But
years
yeah,
my
I feel like
junior.
I've lived a lot of lives. I think one of the things that's given me confidence to get through those circumstances is repetition of it. So,
The more often it happens.
yeah, the more often it happens, you realize the world doesn't end after the first one, it doesn't end after the second one, and it certainly doesn't end after the third. And I think you can take two approaches. One is you get in your head, you allow it to absorb your life, and you completely lose focus of all the positives in your life. Or you can say, okay, I have a great team around me. I have people that are professionals that can handle this, and I know my truth. I know I did everything I possibly could to do right by the people in the situation. I've acted above the law and above board in everything I've done. And if that's the case, I can sleep at night, and I let others worry about, the legal part of it. Or if it's a business matter, the business part.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just getting started too in
Yeah.
business. It's really just starting to happen for me in a big way.
Yeah.
And I will never forget that wisdom you gave to me. I'll take it in every moment of, trial and success. So,
Well, that absolutely makes my day. I think one of the things that I've tried to do, because I do live in such a male-dominated world in finance, is impart some of the wisdom that I've received, because I feel as though I'm in a lot of room that other women aren't in. And through working and observing my husband on a day in, day out basis, we've bought about 30 companies at this point of time in the last 5 years. I have seen a lot, and I've experienced a lot. I've been witness to a lot, and it allows me to build up other women who might not have witnessed those events or been in a room where, tough conversations were happening. And so as much as I can not only help those women, but bring them into the room so they get the confidence that I have, that's really what my mission is.
you guys have had a lot of success, and it's been quick.
Yeah.
How? Why? Was it a mindset? Did you just decide to be successful? Was
Yeah.
it now? And it takes two. You've
Yeah.
really been the wind behind your partner's success as well.
Yeah, no, I won't take his flowers, but it definitely was a team effort for sure. My husband and I met when we were 25, and we were working at a management consulting firm. We had been put on a project in London together, and sparks didn't fly at first. We were colleagues and best friends, and then eventually over the months fell in love, and that kind of started our story. And when he decided to go off to business school, he really wanted to pursue a different idea. And so he created a family office that was focused purely on corporate divestitures. He had thought that there was kind of a blank space there from an investing perspective, where we were able to work with Fortune 500 companies to find business units or products that they no longer wanted, that they might have acquired in the past, no longer needed for strategic reasons. So we were that easy button for carving it out, spinning it up, creating a standalone entity that either a financial buyer or a strategic might be interested in acquiring. And so it was kind of a revolutionary idea. No one was pursuing these low dollar deals because they were all interested in deploying as much capital as possible. And so he worked his entire 2 years at Columbia, kind of developing this business plan. And the month he graduated, he bought his first company from Oracle. And that kind of set him off on a path of just rapid acquisition. So yeah, in the last 5 years, we've done that about 30 times and had quite a few exits that have been life-changing and wonderful and all the things. But with it has come a lot of work and a lot of heartache and a lot of learnings, because building an empire very quickly is phenomenal, but it means the foundation isn't always solid, right? You're hiring really quickly, you're building very quickly, you're getting a lot of money really quickly, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And so, you know, we've been incredibly lucky, and we've done what we can to get the success that we have, but we've also been through a lot. And it's draining in some aspects of it. And, you know, it is what it is, but I'm incredibly proud of what my husband and I have built.
It's so incredible.
Yeah.
I can't wait to continue to watch you flourish.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
All the ups.
Yeah,
And a little bit of downs.
All the ups, yeah. The market this past year has been brutal, but yeah, it'll come back.
I know. Of course it'll come back. I think that it's amazing to see your will and your determination and your perseverance, and you just how you go for it, and nothing's going to get in your way. But of course, with big things come a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So you've forever changed me with that. You have a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Is that from your upbringing in the South?
I would say that I was always a confident kid. I was someone who very much knew what she wanted. I've been ambitious from day one, and I always, you know, told my parents these wild dreams that I had, and they kind of laughed me off of saying...
They didn't believe in you?
I think that they just didn't dream as big as I did, frankly. I grew up with an incredible single mother in North Carolina, and success in North Carolina looks different than success looks in LA, right? And she definitely wanted me to stay in North Carolina, and that would have been, you know, fabulous. And my sister's there, a lot of my family's there, but I really wanted to escape and see how high I could fly. And so I think that my family has taken a step back and has kind of been surprised at all of the success that they've seen that I've had. They're incredibly proud, incredibly supportive, but even me, when I was a kid, I didn't know that, you know, this is what kind of success I could achieve. I knew and believed in myself, and I did everything I could to put myself in a position of success, but I constantly get to new levels where I didn't know I could achieve.
People say that to be successful, sometimes you have to have a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a chip on your shoulder?
I think definitely. I definitely
and
do.
What is it?
I think that people thought I couldn't be here, and that...
Why?
You know, I was never someone who loved school. I was always average at school. I was an AB student. I wasn't that interested in it. You know, later in life, figured out I had ADD, which makes a lot of sense, but was never medicated for it. And people always thought, you know, I was cute, I could do something, but I was going to be, you know, average. And average is a word like I am just allergic to. Like, I don't want to be average at anything that I do. I want to be great. And I think that, you know, I was great at management consulting. I felt really good there. And then I entered a new world in which I didn't know existed. And so that's been really fun. But I think the chip on the shoulder I have now is, you know, there's a lot of a lot of people who look at me and look at my life and are like, wow, you're so lucky to be married to your husband. You know what I mean?
He's lucky to be married to me?
Yeah, you're so lucky to be with someone who, can provide so much financially
Give you a
for
nice
you.
car.
And such a nice lifestyle. Like, aren't you just thrilled? And yes, that is all true. I'm very lucky to be married to my husband, but he's also lucky to be married to me.
My husband.
Yeah, that's also a thing. I think there's also a little bit of a chip on my shoulder that I truly believe I would have gotten here even without him in some way,
Of course you would.
right? So I think that's the chip that I now have on my shoulder, and I've gotten over it somewhat, but I think it's good to have a chip on your shoulder. I think it's good to want to prove people wrong and show them, what you've got, and that, as a standalone entity, I'm a powerhouse.
Because you're showing yourself what you got.
Yeah.
In the end of the day.
Yeah.
I was the one in my group of 8 best friends who didn't go to an Ivy League school.
Yeah.
And the fact that we all went to Ivy League school is so crazy.
That is why.
I didn't, but my brother did, and I came from parents who were very academic. So people thought, oh, maybe she'll finish college and, maybe she'll get a job at a bar singing or something.
Yeah.
So for me, it was so important to build a business and to build a successful business because I didn't want to be a broke artist. It's so boring.
The story's been told too many times.
I'm good. I wanted to be able to have money and live
But it's
life.
also more intellectually stimulating, I find, when you do more than one thing. Of being able to wear the business hat, but also be able to be a creative.
I just don't feel like I have a choice.
Interesting. If you did have a choice, would you have built the business?
No.
Yeah.
I would have just sung and been given billions of dollars.
Okay, I can't disagree with that. I can't fight with that.
Business I've had to learn through my husband.
Yeah.
I married Greg because of everything that he is. And he's just incredible with money. He's incredible with business. He's a frugal guy.
Yeah.
And he comes from a very layered history and a lot of different cultures. And he understands people and he understands himself. And I thought, well, I want to be like this person, so I better marry them.
Yeah.
And I was right. It turned out pretty well. But now I have this business that sometimes takes a hold of me.
Yeah.
And that's why I started this podcast, because I want to reclaim my own creativity.
Yeah.
And my
I
own
love
expression.
That. Yeah. I love
So,
that.
and I think that we constantly have to evolve and be new and challenge ourselves.
I couldn't agree more.
That Martha Stewart documentary that you sent to me, and
Isn't it
watched
phenomenal?
it immediately. Yeah, she's just really admirable, and she's incredible.
She's an incredible businesswoman. How she always looks for the white space. That's what I really appreciate about her. She's trying to do something new where no one else is playing.
Just like you guys.
Yeah, but that's where you really can make a difference. That's where you can make a lot of money, is in the blank space. If you're trying to do something better than someone else is already doing it, fine, but that's not intriguing to me. Go after something no one else has done before.
Greg always says, my husband always says, don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
But I want to reinvent the wheel.
I want to build a new wheel.
You want to build a new wheel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I was watching it and Greg came in and the Martha documentary, and he looked at me and I was just inspired and emotional. And he looked at me, he said, everyone wants to be the Martha Stewart of something.
Yeah, they do.
And I think he's right.
Yeah. And had she not been a woman, I think that her story would have been different. Very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Very different. But I just loved it, and I loved that it was coming from you.
Yeah.
We know a lot of the same people.
Yes.
And
small world.
It's a small world in LA. I feel like it's much smaller than New York. It's much smaller than London.
Be nice to everybody. Be nice to everybody. That's what I said.
That's my problem. I'm too nice.
Yeah. You need less friends. Be less gregarious.
Yeah, we know a lot of people, and we know a lot of people who are doing big, amazing things.
Yeah.
It's amazing to be at the nucleus of what I think is going to be the future of politics and pop culture.
Yeah.
What are you doing to kind of put your feet in the ground politically to, take a stand?
Yeah, I mean, my passion right now is really reproductive rights. I got involved in this cause actually after I had my first miscarriage because I didn't realize very naively at 30 years old that having a miscarriage sometimes requires the abortion pill or it requires a D&C. And you're not, trying to hurt a baby, you're not trying to abort a baby, you're killing a dead fetus or helping a dead fetus leave your body so that you can actually reproduce and create the family with your spouse that you're dreaming of. And so I started researching more and more on this topic in the last year in particular after I had my second miscarriage, because I felt as though it was so cruel that we were shaming these mothers for getting abortions when they truly wanted families. I just can't imagine, knowing what I know about the pain that you go through, in that moment adding additional pain and trauma to a woman by telling her she did something wrong or that she doesn't deserve a second chance to have a baby. So I just think the cruelty of it really drew me to the topic. And I think, ironically, our friend Jenny taught me the power of manifestation. So with manifestation, I find it incredibly important to tell people what you're manifesting, because if you don't tell anyone, no one can offer you a helping hand, right? So with my friend Jenny and others, I shared that, I really had a desire to meet Hillary Clinton, and I was incredibly impacted by the work that she and her family have done regarding reproductive rights and trying to tell the story about what's happening with the health crisis in Texas. And so out of the blue, I got a text from one of my girlfriends, Elsa Collins, who's the connector of all connectors. And she said, do you have any 501c dollars that you want to dedicate to women's rights? And I was like, hell yeah, send me the information. And she sends an email and connects me to Hillary Clinton's office and says, okay, there's this really cool documentary we're working on called Zarowski versus Texas. We've wrapped filming, but we need to be able to get the story out there. Can you help us?
With marketing dollars.
Yeah. So they call it their impact fund. And so what we're trying to do is get it showcased at any and every festival, along with showcasing on college campuses and swing states, any state where abortion's on the ballot, because this story is so powerful. And before I even watched it, it's so easy to kind of turn yourself off to the pain of reading a news article and reading about what happened after the 6-week abortion ban in Texas and after Roe v. Wade. But there's literally women dying, and people don't seem to appreciate nor care. And so what this story is really trying to tell is the actual stories of 3 women who went through it trying to actually have a baby. They wanted babies with their spouse. They wanted to grow their family, and being brought to the brink of death because they couldn't get an abortion in a time in which they've already been told their child had no chance of survival. So I feel as though in this entire political craziness and, with such vitriol on both sides, I've decided to pick issues instead of necessarily sides or politicians. And this is the issue that I feel very passionate about fighting for. And I think it's important that you not only say you're bothered by something, but do something about it.
Right.
If you're gonna, be a social media warrior about something, you better back it up. That's kind of my view of it, put your money where your mouth is.
And living in the trauma and the experience has made you that much more an activist.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest story for me to watch was this woman named Samantha. She was forced to, after finding out at 20 weeks her baby would not be viable, forced to carry it to term because she didn't have the resources to go out of state to have an abortion. So she carried the baby to term. At 40 weeks, was induced into labor and had to hold her child for 4 hours while it died in her arms, in her husband's arms. And the cruelty of that, of making a mother watch her child die in her arms. And she's so powerful. She's going to every screening and saying her words. And she said, the last screening, she goes, they made me watch my child die. They want that story ignored. She goes, I will not let that story not be heard. She's like, you're going to make me hold my baby. I'm going to make you see my baby. And so she has such strength. And I say, if she can do it, I think all women can stand up and fight for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So there's power in storytelling. There's power in people seeing that. And when you're faced with the reality that someone had to go through that, you can't look away. You can't, when
No.
you go to the ballot box, it's hard for you to vote against that woman's right to survive or that woman's inability to watch her child die.
Yeah. So powerful.
Yeah.
And so important as women.
Yeah, I know. We got to do better at supporting women. I think it's so
starts with
interesting.
us.
It really does. It's
And
so
I don't
interesting
know why it's
to me.
so foreign. Well, I guess it's just we haven't been taught to.
We're harder on each other.
Yeah.
I think you watch this current political environment. I mean, Kamala Harris, you can like both candidates, you could not, but I mean, one candidate's held to perfection and the other can do whatever they want. And I genuinely do believe we watched this in 2016 with Hillary
2016.
Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing. I mean, the most qualified candidate to ever run for office. And, we couldn't stop tearing her apart, rightfully or wrongly. But it really is. We are, as women, way harder on female candidates. We're way harder on women in the workforce.
We're way hard on women in business.
In business, yeah. All my mentors, all my sponsors were men. I was shocked. I tried so hard to find females that I really looked up to and would, inspire me to reach the next level. And I was disappointed because I felt as though they were harder on me or less willing to help me along than the men were.
Really?
Yeah. So I've tried in my professional career to lift
Pay it forward.
every single woman around me.
Yeah.
Because
You do.
that's what we have to do.
You really do, and you do a great job. You are very confident. You are a powerhouse. Do you ever doubt yourself?
Yeah, I would say that the biggest doubter is me. I get in my own head.
Every day or like
No.
once in a while?
No, I would say, when I have had to make a big decision, sometimes I will think back on that, or when I've had a really important conversation or sent a really important email, sometimes I can nitpick myself and say, oh, I wish I had changed this. I wish I could change that. But I think that's just the perfectionist in me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I'm always the most prepared person walking into that room, and that gives me the confidence.
Okay.
I do everything I can to absorb any information I can find on any topic, and I want to be able to hold myself in that room. I want to be confident to sit next to people that I really respect.
You want to have all your homework done.
Oh, yeah.
There's no winging it.
No, winging it is not in my vocabulary. I wish it was.
Winging
It's
it is
not.
my middle name.
I know, maybe we need like a happy
We
medium.
need just to hang out. Exactly. We
Yeah.
need to hang out. I know. I don't even really listen to podcasts because I just
I love
find them.
them.
I know. I need to listen to better ones then.
Oh, Pivot with Prof G.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. I just listen to music. I like music a lot.
Yeah, and it's so uplifting. Music can give you confidence, I find. Like if I want to feel like a badass bitch, like I'm going to turn on some like Cardi B or
Totally.
some like
She's so
Beyonce, and I'm going to hype myself up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's meditative.
Yeah, for sure.
It's meditative. So you do doubt yourself, and you've recently gotten to manifesting
Yes.
via our friend Jenny.
Via Jenny. Jenny has taught me about manifesting, and she sent me all of this stuff about the best times to manifest. So I've tried to follow it to, the T. But I've written down all my manifestations that I have for the next 5 years.
And do they include business manifestations as well?
Yeah. It's a really funny mixed bag of things, from exactly how much money I want to make on a deal to wanting to go to the Met Gala. Those are my manifestations, and being in Architectural Digest by 40. So
I mean, no problem.
yeah. So it's funny. It's I have very specific manifestations professionally, but on the personal side too.
Why so
And
many years to get to AD? You can make a couple phone calls.
I know, right? I want it to be my next house.
Okay, not
Yeah.
this house.
Yeah, I love my home, but my current home's El decor. The next house will be AD,
Okay,
you know?
totally.
Yeah, level up.
Level up constantly.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so good. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.